It's ironic that the CrossFit Games is considered the biggest stage of competition when the athletes look so tiny. The CrossFit Games has begun, and while you won't have been able to see the elite individuals or teams competing, you will have had the chance to see the adaptive athletes as well as the age groups. At least you will have seen them if you have incredible eyesight or a really big TV. So let's talk about the live stream, and stick around to the end of the video for a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. So CrossFit has provided a live stream for both the age group and adaptive athletes, and while that should be a good thing, the adage, "a job half done is as good as none," comes to mind. Now, while I'd love to see these athletes getting the same level of coverage as the elite individuals and teams, I'm also a realist and know that's very unlikely. It's incredibly expensive, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people to be involved, and I don't honestly think anyone was expecting it to be at that level. But I think as a bare minimum, we wanted to at least be able to follow what the athletes are doing on the field. But what we've actually been given is a fixed camera so far away from the field that it actually looks like it's the CrossFit Games for ants. Thank you Zoolander and WadZombie for that one. And while this has been excellent fodder for meme pages, it has been incredibly disappointing for the community for a number of reasons. Firstly, because it just feels like a disservice to the athletes themselves. We know how hard they have to work and how much they're spending to get to the CrossFit Games. This is their moment to shine, but we can't actually see them shining on the stream. Although I do think we need to commend CrossFit for what they're doing in highlighting the adaptive and age group athletes on their social media, putting out lots of clips and pictures on their Instagram. For example, this interview with the teens made me a Trista Smith fan.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Speed.
To be able to fix any broke down truck or vehicle on the side of the road.
Probably breathe underwater.
Well, potentially the best answer to that question that we've ever heard. But here's the thing, the pictures and videos that they're putting up on Instagram really just highlight that there are people there with cameras, with phones that could actually be doing a better job of providing a live stream than what we're getting. And yes, it would not be the same quality we're expecting to see at the weekend, but it would still be better than what we're getting right now. And then, of course, it's good to think about the inspirational and aspirational nature of these divisions. For example, kids and teens, they want to see what their peers are doing. So if they see them competing at the CrossFit Games, well, that could encourage them to give CrossFit a go themselves. And then we have it, a whole new group of young people starting CrossFit. And then we can go to the other end of the age spectrum. When older people can see people their age or even older doing CrossFit, they understand it's not just for the young bucks. CrossFit truly is for anyone. So while they may never go to the CrossFit Games themselves, they understand that they too can do CrossFit, and we can bring in an older generation, more masters athletes to the CrossFit box, and yes, they might not be going to the games, but this could truly improve the quality of their life. And do I even need to mention the adaptive division, or is it obvious that if somebody is sitting at home and seeing someone like them doing incredible things, competing at the highest level, maybe it's missing an arm, isn't that encouraging to see what they could do given their circumstances? Take it a step further. Think about somebody who's maybe recently experienced a trauma. Perhaps they've recently lost their arm. Maybe they're in a dark place thinking about what they can't do anymore, the things they used to enjoy. Well, getting to see what these athletes are capable of doing at the CrossFit Games, couldn't that motivate them to get into CrossFit, to set some new goals? And that's not just bringing people into CrossFit to increase the numbers, but once again, we're talking about changing their lives. And then just to change tack a minute, we can think about who is competing. Because as time progresses, well, more and more people become masters athletes, which means there are more recognizable names for us to follow. So even if we haven't been doing CrossFit for as long as others, there are going to be names we recognize. For example, this year, both Scott Panchek and Sam Briggs are competing as masters athletes. So they have huge followings, a lot of fans, a lot of people that want to watch them compete. But even if it's not the biggest name in CrossFit, every athlete competing at the games is going to have family members, friends, or just people from the box that want to see them competing at the CrossFit Games. So it's a real shame that the stream is just not delivering that experience. Now, I did promise a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. So here it is, and I suppose it's less of a theory and more of a hypothetical, because there was a chance, I'll admit it was a slim chance, that this year we were going to see Scott Panchek and Rich Froning battling it out in the Masters division. Now, while it was a very slim chance that Rich was going to accept his invitation to the Games, I can't help but wonder if Rich Froning was competing at the CrossFit Games this year. Don't you think CrossFit would have put in a little bit more effort to slightly improve the quality of the stream? Now, I know that the Games team is small, but it is also filled with volunteers as well. You've got volunteers for judging, for moving equipment around, and for all the other things that they need. So would it have been too hard to get a few more volunteers who are just willing to run around with some cameras or phones, or even just press zoom on the camera that they've got to improve the quality of the stream for the age groups and the adaptive division? So far this season, the live streams, well, they've been disappointing, whether that's not broadcasting all the events at the semi-finals, or now what we're seeing with the age groups and adaptive divisions. So can CrossFit redeem themselves over the next couple of days? Well, only time will tell.